Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Playful Wise Woman show. I think you can feel and sense my excitement. I'm going to take a deep breath and get myself grounded just like I teach all of you. We have an interesting episode here today. I have been working with my team on a really exciting free offer for the month of January January, all around the power of creativity and play in our business. And I just recorded the first training module, the welcome, and it was so powerful and so good. And it was right around 20 minutes that I decided that it needed to be a podcast episode first, that I wanted to get it out into all of your hands because there are so many good, juicy tidbits in there around leadership and play and creativity and how to leverage it. So that is what this next episode is going to be. You are going to hear me referencing the 6-7 day experience and walking people through that. At the end of the episode, I'll share a little blurb on how you can jump into that experience too. You'll just be a training ahead of everyone, but that's okay because it's all self-paced. So get ready, buckle up. It's another great episode, and I'm so excited you're here. Hello, everyone. My name is Cait. I am the Playful Wise Woman, and welcome to this week-long experience. I am so excited that you're here. I am so honored that you are checking out this journey. I know how overwhelming it can feel when you are running a business, feeling stuck, wanting all the answers, wanting the strategy, wanting the how, but don't know how to do it and don't know where to start. And over this next week, my goal is to give you some tools and strategies and processes to work through to unlock some of your creativity and your big picture thinking, and also give you some spaciousness from the overwhelm, the hustle, all the things, so that you can then have the capacity to work through and strategize and plan and make the big, beautiful vision for your next step without feeling so exhausted, overwhelmed, and stuck all the time. I decided to do this kind of week thing after wrapping up the new year and feeling a little wiped myself and recognizing that some of that was really natural, was really normal, right? We are in the middle of winter. That is a normal feeling to experience, this deep pull and desire to slow down, to hibernate, to rest. And at the same time, we're ambitious, we're high achievers. We've been raised in a society where it's all about go, go, go. January is the new year. We should have it all together. We should have all the plans. And in a lot of ways, these are almost like warring, opposite, pulling pressures and desires that I know that I go through and a lot of my clients go through, and something tells me that you experience as well. It's part of why you're here. And I really sat with this idea because this has been a really common theme in both my life, my business, of this kind of both and, or these opposites. And I think in our society, it's really easy to feel like we have to be in one extreme or the other. I had a recent podcast episode about that, episode 7 on the Playful Wise Woman show, talking about a little bit of that, those extreme energies. We feel like it should be one or the other, when in the reality, it's both. And this week, we are going to look at these ideas of action and strategy and play and creativity. And we're going to spend a lot of time over in play and creativity because as hustlers, as high achievers, as go-getters, we often are pushing always with action, 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 action. Go, 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 do, do, do. If I'm not productive, I'm not successful. If I'm not productive, I don't have value. If I'm not getting through my to-do list, I failed. these aren't actual truths. These are things that we've been pressured to believe. These are stories and narratives that we have maybe bought into. But also, there's a part of you that wants something different, that feels like there's another way. And so that's where we are going to weave in and pull in and play with this idea of adding play and creativity into our lives and our businesses, so that then we have the spaciousness and the capacity to strategize and be in action, right? Because if we are only ever living in the action and the go, go, go and the do, 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 that will work for a while until it doesn't work anymore. How many of you have faced burnout? Have had a day or a week or a month where you are just on that struggle bus, can't figure it out, can't get out of your own way, beating yourself up, can't figure out what's going on, right? These are signs and symptoms of burnout. It's because we are only pushing through without resting. If you know a little bit about my background's in the strength and conditioning, specifically college strength and conditioning, the sport of weightlifting world. And there is a scientifically proven concept in that world around periodization, that the rest is just as important, if not more important, than the actual work. Recovery is a really important tool that we leverage in that world. We train. We go heavier, 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 heavier. We physically break down and beat up the muscles so that they can get stronger. But if we don't strategically take rest and recovery, though that breaking down and that beating up of the musculature ultimately leads to chronic overuse and injuries. But if we are strategic about building in rest and active recovery and different tools like that, the muscle actually repairs and builds stronger, and the numbers can go up. It's the same concept that I teach my clients in business, my high achievers, my overworkers, my non-stoppers, is this idea that we can't just push through all the time. We need to be strategic. Some of that needs to be rest and breaks. And no, that doesn't mean just falling asleep with your phone in your hand and waking up with your phone and putting out fires, right? And sleeping for 4 hours fitfully. It means actual rejuvenative. Is that a word? I don't think that's a word. I think I made that word up. Rejuvenating sleep that allows our bodies and our minds to rest. And much like active recovery in the world of weightlifting, play and creativity and prioritizing our joys are a way of active recovery for our brains, our souls, our beings, all of that. I intentionally use the words the power of play and creativity in business. And they seem like such counterintuitive concepts, but play and creativity are really powerful. They are a form of active recovery for our businesses. When we prioritize ourselves and our joy and our happiness as the leaders and use tools like play and creativity and movement and nourishing food and all the things, when we use those tools, when we actually buy into them, so many things happen. So many ripple outs. And I've seen it time and time again. I've experienced it myself. I've walked clients through it. Both tangible and intangible outcomes come from this. And so I want to talk through kind of two really big, important pieces of this concept of the power of play and creativity in business to frame us up for this week, so that as I am laying on some fun activities, some reflections, and some prompts, you have a little bit of an anchoring and a foundation for why this is so important for you and your business, and why you can't keep operating at the level of go, go, go that you have been, because it works until it doesn't, and then it's a real stall out. So the first concept I'm going to kind of walk us through is a little bit more of a concept entrenched in the methodology of leadership and the framework of leadership that I teach. And a lot of times when I'm teaching leadership, when I ask the audience what leadership is, a lot of the examples are examples of leaders. But leadership is this bigger concept, right? It's not just the leader, because if you don't have followers, you don't have a leader, right? And it's also the context and the social piece of the situation. And focusing in, though, on that one piece of it, the piece that people often miss is that if we can't lead ourselves, it's very hard to lead other people. And what I mean by leading ourselves, now we're starting to get into topics of like a piece of emotional intelligence, is if we can't understand ourselves, what our strengths are, what we struggle with, if we don't really have a good, deep understanding of that, we can't learn to manage ourselves. We can't learn to regulate ourselves. So we need to develop this deep knowing of ourselves so that we can learn to regulate and manage ourselves, so that we can then learn to lead and manage and understand and manage relationships with others. Along those lines, if we, the leader, don't know how to understand ourselves, don't know how to manage and regulate, and are constantly in this go, 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 and then we get to this point where that, I told you, that works until it doesn't work. We get to this point where it's no longer serving you. You feel stuck, you feel overwhelmed, and you don't know how to support yourself through it because you haven't worked through and taken that time to prioritize yourself, to understand yourself, to understand what those needs are. So a big part of all of this work is actually giving yourself space to understand you, your leadership, what brings you joy, how to regulate yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed, how to regulate yourself when you're having high anxiety, how to regulate yourself when you are in conflict, both during the conflict and after the conflict, right? All of these things, these tools and this knowing of yourself. When we can develop and learn those skills as a business owner, because business owners are leaders, even if that's not what you thought you signed up for, when we can learn those skills and that knowing about ourselves, it allows us to show up at a fuller capacity, more grounded for ourselves and everyone else around us. When we learn, so that first little piece of this part of the story is leadership, and it's just knowing and understanding what we need, and then we go into practicing it. We start practicing creating boundaries for ourselves. We start practicing prioritizing our needs. And when we can do that, and it takes time, it doesn't happen right away, it's new, it's a new pattern, but when we can do that and that starts to become the norm, we start showing up differently. We start showing up differently for our people. We start showing up differently for ourselves. We are more grounded. We are less overwhelmed just by virtue of us having these tools and this knowing of how to understand and manage ourselves. It doesn't mean that hard situations won't happen. It doesn't mean that we won't get overwhelmed. But we show up better for it and differently for it. And it gives us more space. And it allows us to do things. So that's the first piece of why this is so powerful in business. When we can prioritize our joy and ourselves and our needs, it actually opens up spaciousness, and capacity for us to be better, do more, right? When we were trying to push and do more before and we couldn't. So by stepping back and prioritizing ourselves, it actually opens up capacity for us to achieve what we were trying to achieve all along by grinding and pushing through. And a lot of the discovery of what we need is through play and creativity. Play isn't just play like playing as a little kid. That's part of it. That is some of it. We are going to practice some of that. But it's this concept of playing with an idea, playing with and being exploratory and inquisitive of what lights me up, what brings me joy, what do I want to try today to set the tone for the day, what are my non-negotiables that I need, right? It's this playful spirit and exploration. So that's one piece of it. I told you we were going to talk today through two pieces of it. The other piece of it, the power of play and creativity in your business, is the actual tools of play and creativity. When we prioritize time for that, when we create time for that, it shifts things in our brain, right? It shifts us out of doing, and it shifts and opens up this space to allow us to have creative downloads. When we are only in action mode and only doing, it's really hard to strategize and come up with new ideas and problem solve in our business. And that's what business is and needs. It needs us to constantly be willing to change. It needs us to constantly be pivoting and innovating and be unafraid to fail and trying new things. And if we are only in checklist mode and we're only tying our value to productivity in that way, we don't get the opportunity to innovate and evolve because we are stuck, because we can't even see that next level or future levels or out here levels because we're in go mode. But when we prioritize play and creativity, it pulls us into a different energy and it allows us to see things differently. A lot of times my clients and I call it, we get a new download, we get a new idea. That's why a lot of times people get their best ideas when they're in the shower singing, when they're driving in the car, when they are on a walk in nature, because they have disconnected a little bit, sometimes not even realizing it. They're zoning out instead of doing. And suddenly that opens up a space. And when we can learn how to play and be creative and leverage and prioritize time for that in our business, it opens up so many new things. So that's really what this week is going to be all about. Taking those two pieces, you learning to prioritize and understand your needs as a leader in your business, for your team, for yourself, for your clients, for your family, for your community, and learning and practicing and trying the power of play and creativity, actionably trying it. So over the next few days, I am going to be delivering into your inboxes some different recorded activities with me. And I am going to have some prompts along with each of those. So over the next 4 days, I had to think about how many I've planned out. The next 4 days, each day you will get a new email dropped into your inbox with a new mini lesson to watch from me. They'll be a little bit shorter than this first one. And then in the email will be some prompts and instructions on how to work through the given activity, or just reflection questions. It'll be a little different day to day. So that's what you can expect over the next 4 days. So that will take us through day 5. Day 6 will be kind of some reflection and some wrap up. And then we'll finish out with day 7, just with some looking ahead and reflections and applying this to your life and your business in 2025. I did this because I needed this reset too. And so I'm going to be going along along this with you. I may be a few days ahead of you depending on when you join in. So I reserve the right to change any of this. That's the beautiful part about having a business. Why I love running my business the way I do, because I want to meet my people where they are. I might have an idea coming in, and then I gather info from you all and realize that we might need something completely different or a different way to get there. And so that's the plan right now. I'm excited. I can't wait to see you on the other side of the 7 days, and check in with each of you to see how it went. I hope you loved that training and podcast episode as much as I loved talking about it. This stuff is so impactful and so important for us as leaders and business owners, learning to operate in this wild, hustly, cultured world in a way that actually works for us, that's sustainable for us. If you would like to jump into my free experience, go ahead and hop over to either my Instagram or my website, caitfinn.com, or at the Playful Wise Woman. Click on the links there. Drop your email into the form to join into our free Power of Play and Creativity guided experience. It is going to be 7 days. This episode being the first day, you will still get that email in your inbox. And then on day 2, we will drop another email into your inbox, kicking right into the little mini video recordings, activities, and prompts. I would love to have you join us. Hop on over there while we're doing it. It's self-paced, so you can join at any time this month, and it will be right in your email, so you don't have to go anywhere else to find it.